Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So if you don't know, if you're new here, hi, if no one told you, I am a horror girly through and through. I read mostly horror and thriller on my channel here. It's just what I'm into, okay? I decided to start a new series on my channel, basically reading popular, overhyped books and seeing are they worth the hype or are they trash, according to me. Now, I have never read a fantasy book in my entire life. I decided to pick up A Court of Thorns and Roses to kick this video off. I've never read fantasy. I don't ever read romance or smut. They're just like not genres that appeal to me. But I thought, you know, maybe I can get into a fantasy and like ignore the romance elements. Obviously, by the title and the thumbnail, I hated this book. I really did. I hated it. And you'll find out why. So this video, it does have full spoilers. So if you want to still read the book, definitely go read it. Come back to this video to hear my thoughts. But if you already read it, or if you have no intentions of reading this garbage, then just keep watching this video to hear me scream. Hello, my first update. I'm about to go to work, obviously, hence the outfit. But I got 84 pages in, and so far, like, it's okay. I don't have an opinion really strongly one way or another. It's just kind of like, like it's okay. So we're following this girl. She's 19. She's a huntress. Her name's Feyre. I think it's pronounced Feyre. And she kills this wolf, right? Because she's like deer hunting and her family's super poor. She lives with her dad and her two sisters. So her family's super poor and she's out deer hunting and she finds this wolf and she's not sure if it's a fairy, which is like another race, I guess you could say. I'm 84 pages into this book. I still don't know what a fucking fairy is, okay? But she's like worried that it's one of these fairies, so she kills the wolf, and then she was like, oh, like, I guess it's just a wolf, whatever. She takes the deer and the wolf's pelt back to her little cottage with her family, and the next day, a giant golden wolf that looks like a horse, but is also, as well as in addition to a wolf, but also has antlers, breaks into the cabin and is like, bitch, did you kill my friend? And she's like, yeah, I did. And he's like, oh, well, turns out it was a fairy. And then this wolf beast guy thing is a fairy also. And they were like, well, and he was like, well, the punishment for doing such a crime, the fairy said, I either have to kill you or like hold you prisoner and bring you to where I live and you have to live with me forever and ever and ever, and you can no longer see your family. So obviously if she were to be murdered, the book would be over. So she goes to live with this fairy beast wolf thing, and she discovers he also turns into a man. So now she's just kind of like hanging out at his little castle with his friends, and she's like, oh, I need a way to escape. But he's also like kind of muscular when he turns into a man. I'm not even kidding. That's like, she's very obviously hyping up this man because she's always talking about his muscles. So I can tell this is going to get super cringy real quick. Like real quick. I was told that this is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, which, okay, makes sense, okay? And then she also has this like little boyfriend, this little like human boyfriend, and no one likes him, I don't think. But she's like, well, my boyfriend back home is like really cool and smart. I don't know what she actually says. I have no idea. I'm making things up now, but yeah, so that's this book. I don't know, from what I'm gathering, these fairies are like these high magical beings that they did something to humans. Like, I have no idea. They did something to the humans, and the humans are kind of afraid of them. They don't trust them. And like, they're just not well respected. Listen, I don't know, okay? I really don't know. Fantasy things go way over my head. She did explain it a little bit, but like, listen, I just, ADHD. Anyways, that's that. That's this book. I don't really have a strong opinion. Like I said, like, it's okay. I thought the writing was kind of pretentious. Like, right away when I started chapter 1, I was like, oh, this sounds pretentious. Just the way that she describes things. And I don't know about you guys, but well, I've never read fantasy before, but when I read like fantasy-ish things, the voice in my head is always like an old-timey accent. Anyone else? Like, the accents that they use on like Lord of the Rings is what I picture in my head, and it just gets me so annoyed, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to get this out of my brain. Yeah, I can tell this is probably going to get cringy for me. We'll find out. We will see how I feel once I get further into the book. Hi! So it is now Monday morning. It's a couple days later. I just wanted to update you. I only got to page 132 in this book, and let me share my thoughts. So last time I checked in, I didn't really have an opinion. Like, it was okay. And now this is getting really slow and boring for me. I am only 133 pages in, and I am like, oh my god, when is something going to happen? If you hear chewing in the background, I apologize. My dog decided to get a bone out and chew it in the middle of me filming, but it keeps her occupied, so whatevs. So really just the same shit is happening over and over and over again. She's like, why am I here? Why am I here? I need to find a way to escape. And they have this treaty. Like I said, the treaty is an agreement between the fairies and the humans with like rules, and according to the treaty, she has to live there in their land forever and ever and ever now. Or they have to kill her. So she's like, but why? But why am I here? What do you plan on doing with me? Because the fairies just kind of treat her like a human. I mean, duh, she's a human. But like, they treat her normally. Like, they're not torturing her. I mean, I kind of wish they were, because it would make things more exciting at this point, because nothing has happened. And that's basically it. She's learning more and more about the fairies and their land, and that things that she knew about them were kind of myths. And she's learning more about Tamlin. That is the beast man, the shape-shifting beastie boy. That is Tamlin. We now know his name, and then like he lives there with his friends and his servants and whatever. And we find out that he's like a high lord. He's like one of the higher ups of the fairies. Anyways, that's basically it. The writing is getting really cringy. I'm going to start tabbing every time I read something cringy, because I can just tell I am going to throw up reading this. She is just making so many cringy comments about Tamlin, like, oh, I know he's a beastie boy, but his flexor digitorums are just so strong looking. That's literally this book. Like, she keeps making these, oh, he would be so handsome without that mask on. They have to wear masks because there was some kind of disease or something that affected the fairies. I don't know. But they all have to wear this, like, mask. And she's like, oh, I bet he's so hot without that mask on, even though he's like a wolf, horse, deer hybrid. Betcha he's so hot. He shook his head. Oh shit, everything's always falling out of my book. Shook his head, and his golden hair caught and held the morning light as if it were spun from the sun itself. Like, see what I mean? Just cringy, like, seriously. Here's another one. Said my name with such intimacy, as if he weren't a creature capable of killing monsters made from nightmares. Like, bitch. bitch. What about Isaac at home, huh? The boy that she's in love with. What about Isaac? How do you think Isaac feels that you're about to fuck a beast? I'm gonna go read some more. I have to start work in a half hour. I'm gonna see where this takes me, and yeah, I do have the audio as well, and the audiobook is like a full musical production. It is like wild, full cast, there's background noises, there's music in the background. It's like I'm listening to a musical, but the audiobook narrator is annoying. Like, okay, this main character, that's the other thing, is annoying to me. She's getting so whiny and boring and annoying, and that's exactly how she sounds on audio. So it's like perfect, because that's literally what she sounds like in my head. Okay, so I am officially halfway through this book, and oh my god, holy shit, this is so bad. Like, this is rapidly going downhill for me. This is easily, I think, the cringiest book I've ever read in my life. I just need to first read you some quotes. So, also, not really much has happened since the last time we checked in. You know, I'm like 70 pages further. Really nothing has happened. Really nothing at all has happened. The only thing that happened is that our main character and Tamlin are now kind of being seductive towards one another, and a little fling has now begun. Okay, that's it. That's all that's happened in 70 pages. It's like little tiny things happen here and there, but they're like not really significant to the plot. So it's just annoying how slow this is and how cringy this romance is in this book. Like, it is actually insufferable. If you follow me on Instagram, I've been reading some little quotes on here on my stories and just cracking up because it's so bad. So without further ado, reading with Meg. So I have been putting a sticky note anytime there is a cringy romantic remark made, because it is just insufferable. It is wild. So I pulled on Tamlik's tunic over my own, ignoring how easily I could see the cut of his muscles beneath his white shirt. The way the blood soaking it made them stand out even more. Tamlin gripped my shoulder. I hadn't realized how cold I'd become until the heat of his hand warmed me through my nightgown. Gag me. Seriously. Fucking gag me. I feel like I'm gonna have diarrhea reading this. The green of his eyes matched the grass between my fingers, and the amber flecks were like the shafts of sunlight that streamed through the trees. His lips were smooth against my skin, his breath warm, and my knees buckled as he lifted my other hand to his mouth and kissed it too. Kissed it carefully in a way that made heat begin pounding in my core between my legs. So he kisses her hand, like, and she is suddenly, her vagina is suddenly throbbing over that. This is just like the cringiest thing I've ever read in my entire life. Literally the cringiest thing I've ever read in my life. And then there's a part, I forgot to tab it, but there's a part where he's like turning into a beast, and like he has these big claws, and she's like, oh, I just can't help but like want him to pin me down and fuck me, basically, is what she's thinking, as he's like shape-shifting into a beast. What in the kinky, what in the world is this? I have never in my life, like, what, this is the kind of shit y'all are into. This is the kind of shit you are into. I can't get into this. And you know what? I'm just angry now. I'm angry that this book is so popular because it sucks. It sucks, okay? And I can get into a fantasy book. I really can. I am learning that the fantasy elements of this book aren't the worst thing in the world. You know, It's the romance. It's the romance. It's the weird smut. It's the fantasy romance that makes me want to throw up. I feel like I'm going to shit everywhere. My bowels are going to combust and leak out of my rectum. Like, I am not even kidding. This is insane to me that people are into this. I can't. This is the cringiest thing I've ever read in my fucking life. I'm getting angry really, really quickly. I am getting so angry reading this book. I can't do it. I can't do it. I heard that the series gets better and better. Like, the other books are actually well done. But if this has beast smut throughout the entire thing, I can't do it. I cannot do the fantasy romance. I can't do romance, period. Period. I can't do smut, period. Unless it's like really crazy, like wild, batshit, insane, comical romance smut. Like, that is just funny to me, but I can't. The fairy porn, I can't do it. The beast porn, like, why? 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 Okay, I'm back. It's a few days later. So I'm almost done with this book. I'm gonna finish it today. I only have like 50 pages left, and I didn't really feel the need to update you recently because, I kid you not, literally nothing has happened for 100 pages. And that's the issue. Part of the issue that I'm having with this book is the pacing is horrendous. So basically nothing happens for 100 pages. It's just her talking about his muscles and his eyes. I actually stopped tabbing because instead of cringy, it just got progressively more ridiculous. But it's just, you know, nonstop comments about the muscles, the eyes, they make love. Oh my gosh, everything is so wonderful here. Tamlin tells her that he loves her and she doesn't say it back. So that's all that happens for 100 pages. I kid you not. The pacing in this book is horrible. Like, literally nothing happens in this book until the end. Like, the last 100 pages, now things are happening, and I'm like, but and now everything just feels rushed because for 300 pages, it's just such a slog to get through. Anyways, there is this, like, evil high fae that comes to visit them named Rysand, whatever. And he comes over and is very, like, threatening towards our main character, Feyre. And so Tamlin is like, okay, this is dangerous for you to be here. I'm gonna send you back to the human realm. So he sends her back to the human realm. She goes to see her family. Everyone's fine, just like they promised. Nothing happened. And the entire book, she's like, oh, my family, I have to get back to my family, my family, are they okay? And they're like, yes, they're fine. And she's like, but I need to check on them. So she checks on them. Of course, they're fine. Her family was tricked with fairy magic, so they're, like, extremely wealthy now. The fairies, like, gave them all this wealth, and they have no idea, like, how they're wealthy and why am I still holding this book? They have no idea, like, why they are wealthy, and they have no clue what's going on, except for her sister, Nesta, who apparently is too strong-willed to be tricked by fairy magic, so she knows what has been going on this entire time, but the rest of her family has no idea. They think that she's been away caring for her sick aunt this entire time. After spending some time with her humans, she decides that she just loves Tamlin so much she has to go back to Prythian, where the fairies are, and she has to go be with him because she's just so in love with him. So she goes back to the fairy realm, and he's not there. No one's there. She finds out by Alice, who is, like, the housekeeper, finds out by Alice that, like, the fairies were taken by this woman named Amarantha, who is, like, an evil villain. She took over the fairies by force and took all this power and became, like, the queen of the High Fae, and she put a curse on all the fairies, so their magic is not as powerful as it usually is, and she put this curse on Tamlin. Get this one. This is where the book got so ridiculously stupid for me. So she put this curse on Tamlin that the only way to break this curse is if a human woman who hates fairies falls in love with him and professes that she loves him. That will break the curse. Gag me with a fucking spoon. She never said I love you back, so the curse remains. Dun dun dun. So that's why like everyone was wearing a mask. It wasn't actually a disease, it was a curse. Anyways, first she goes after Amarantha, and Amarantha tells her, see what I mean? Like nothing happens for 300 pages and then suddenly everything happens in the last 100 pages. So anyways, she goes after them. Amarantha tells her she can either do a series of 3 tasks to save Tamlin, or she can solve a riddle. So the first task, she has to like fight this giant worm-like thing, and then Rysand is the only one that bets on her, and he's holding her captive to help Amarantha. Yeah, so after she fights this like giant worm thing, she breaks her arm and he heals her arm, but in exchange for healing her broken arm, she has to like belong to him for 1 week every month. So she has to like spend the week with him in his court or whatever. And then the second task, she has to like solve this puzzle, and if she doesn't solve it, then Lucian, his friend, whatever, will be crushed, and she solves it because Rysand was like in her mind telling her what to do. So it's like he's like helping her through this whole thing. So that's as far as I've gotten so far. This book was a freaking slog. Like, I'm just annoyed. I'm gonna finish it today and then update you later on my final thoughts, but I mean, this is not going so well. I am not a romance reader. I'm not a smut reader. I don't really understand the appeal, if I'm being quite honest. And what I'm realizing is I don't mind the fantasy elements of this book. I think I could read a fantasy book and get into it if it's just fantasy, but I don't like the romance and the smut elements because it's just, like, it doesn't do anything for me. I don't care. It's just more cringy than anything. Like, I just internally cringe. I just don't understand the hype of that whole aspect, and it seems like most popular fantasy books are centered around romance and smut, which I don't get. I don't understand. If there is like a straightforward like popular fantasy book that is easy to understand and read without being overly saturated in romance and smut, please let me know, because I am interested in reading more fantasy. I just don't know if I can get into this whole like lovey-dovey sort of thing. It's just corny to me. That's my thought. Those are my thoughts so far. And like I said, the pacing is horrible. The writing isn't horrible, but like I've read, it's super cringy. The things that she continuously obsesses over, so annoying. The main character, annoying. Like, I just find her to be very dull and whiny throughout this book, through a lot of parts of it. And also, like, this is just completely unbelievable. Like, there's no chemistry between her and Tamlin. Tamlin is, like, boring as shit. It's just very unbelievable that, first of all, she would skin his friend alive and kill him, and he would be like, oh, you're gonna live with me. I love you so much. I love you. You're so hot. Like, no. And then the fact that she just randomly decides, oh, he's so hot, I'm gonna go fuck him, and he's a beast. Like, there was nothing leading up to that built that relationship or that tension or anything. It was just random. Like, it just randomly happened. So it was just super unbelievable. The main character is like not well developed. Like, these characters are not well developed at all. So anything that's happening is not believable, because up until this point, now all of a sudden she's fighting for his love, and like, she hasn't done shit but like whine this entire book. Like, I I find it really hard to believe that she would suddenly be like, I'm gonna go back to the fairy realm and fight all these people. Like, there was nothing that suggested that she was a badass female main character. You know what I mean? Like, she sucks. So, don't like the characters, don't like the romance, don't like the smut, don't like the pacing. It's just very to me, you know? Let me know if that gets better as the series goes on. I am going to finish this, but right now this is just a huge dud for me. Hi, final thoughts. I finished this book. I still really dislike it. That's not shocking? Okay. So, like I was saying, Feyre solves the second task with the help of Rysand, whatever the hell his name is. And I think he was helping Feyre, from what I understand, because he wanted her to break this curse, and that way Tamlin would be angry and kill Amarantha, because he would be the only one strong enough to do so, and then all of their magical powers would be restored, I think. So anyways, he's helping her. And then the third task, she had to kill 3 fairies. So she stabs and kills the first 2 fairies in the heart with an arrow, and you know, it's like really tragic for her, blah blah blah. And then the last fairy is Tamlin, and she thinks, oh my god, I'm gonna have to kill the man I love in order to break this curse and restore the fairies' powers. Okay, so she goes to kill him, but then remembers, apparently somewhere along the lines it was revealed that his heart is made of stone. So she is like, oh, if I go to kill him, he won't actually die because his heart is made of stone. So of course she stabs him, he doesn't die, and Amarantha is like, sorry, no, you still didn't break the curse because that's a technicality, whatever. Then Amarantha like beats Feyre almost to her death, and then she realizes the answer to the riddle is love. That's it, that's the riddle. The word love. Love is the riddle. I read a 400 fucking page book to find out that the answer is love. What kind of corny Hallmark movie shit is this? Okay, I am angry. This was the answer to the riddle is love. Like, love, 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 love is all you need. Like, I can't. She speaks the word love, the curse breaks, but then she ends up dying, but now everyone's powers are restored, so they basically resuscitate her back to life. They kill Amarantha, and Feyre and Tamlin are free, and now she is like transformed into a high fae, and that's the end of the book. Now she has to live her life as a high fae and deal with the tragedies that occurred. That's it. That's the book. That's the book. This book, like I said, okay, Amarantha, weak ass bitch, okay? Like, she is supposed to be this big villain, and like, how? Because you're telling me she took everyone's powers and like diminished them so no one can fight her. She has everyone enslaved. She puts this curse on Tamlin, and then Feyre doesn't solve the curse. So you're telling me you're still gonna give her more options to solve the curse. Oh, sorry, you didn't do it in time, but I'll give you 2 other ways that you can solve it. Why? 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 Just so the series can continue on. Like, she had no reason to give her 2nd and 3rd tries. It just doesn't make sense. The math ain't mathing. I just don't understand this damn book. Like, why is Amarantha just like, oh yeah, I have everyone enslaved, everyone is my prisoner, that's what I want everyone's power, but like, I'm gonna give this little weak ass bitch more tries. Like, what? The The answer is love. How corny. I can't, like, that's what I mean. This is just so not believable. The villains are not villainous enough. The characters suck. They're boring, they're weak, I don't know anything about Feyre. I just read a 400-page book about her, and I don't know anything about this woman other than she likes to paint. I can't even tell you what she paints. All I know is that she peruses around this mansion and paints little pictures and cries. Like, I seriously cannot. I simply cannot. That's it. That's it. Those are my thoughts on ACOTAR. I have so many questions, so little answers. I feel like I just wasted my time. But answer this one for me, okay? Everyone who hates this book says that the series gets better, or at least most people do. Does the series get better? Like, does it get better in terms of writing, plot, and character development? Or does it get better in terms of romance and smut? Because that's what I'm not looking for. And, like, I already know there's something going on with Rysand, whatever the fuck this guy's name is. I already know there's something going on with him romantically from, like, spoilerish shit that I've seen people posting online. But, like, does it get better in terms of writing, plot, and characters, or is it just like, oh, it's so steamy and chili peppers, Because that's what I don't want, but, like, I can get into a fantasy book if it's good. So please let me know your thoughts. If you think I'm gonna absolutely hate the rest of the series, let me know. But if you think that it does get better and I should give the second book a try, let me know, because I will film a part 2 to this video and I will read the second book and do the same thing, and we'll find out together how I feel. So let me know if you want to see that. Otherwise, I do have Fourth Wing. I'm going to be filming that one soon. Hopefully that one will be up in December. Kind of doing the same thing, reading, reacting, reviewing. And then I am interested in reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, because I hear that that one has, like, less romance, and the writing, the plot, the characters, everything is so much better than this one from what I'm hearing from people. So I'm actually really interested in reading that one. Let me know if you want to see that in a video as well. And let me know if there are any other, like, fantasy books that I should check out that you would think that I would like. And yeah, maybe I'm just gonna make this like a regular thing on my channel, okay? I kind of like these better than the vlogs where I'm like reading 5 books, because it's just too much for me. But this is just has a nice flow to it. I like this. People have been asking for spoiler videos, so I'm gonna make this a regular thing. So I hope you enjoyed my rampage, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!